Hi there, and thanks for joining me today. You guys are going to absolutely love what we are doing today. This one is a bonus because not only is anybody that you show these to or give them to going to be super impressed, but the men in your life are going to be wowed by how cool these are. These are napkin ring holders made from various metals. This one's sheet metal. I used a little bit of copper on this one. And also our Big Shots dies, and this one here with the flower also uses some Stampin' Up! Pretties kits. Okay, are you dying to see this? Let's get started. For the video today, I'll show you how to do this one with the Pretties kit flowers. It's actually just made with a sheet metal that my husband found in the garage. Isn't that awesome? This is the Stampin' Up! Pretties kit. And if you have been following my video tutorials, you probably own a box of these Pretties kit. And I'm guessing that you're probably empty here from when I taught you how to do the altered half pearls with the spider and Rudolph's altered nose job. So you probably have some of these silk flowers and they're just dying to become a napkin ring holder. I'll take the largest of the silk flowers. I'm taking some Elegant Eggplant Classic Ink Refill. They also make great backgrounds and watercoloring. The aqua painter actually has a tube with water in it and a brush tip end, and you can just squeeze this to control your flow of water to your tip. What I'm going to do is start by, now I had a little bit of purple already on this from the previous one I made. I'm going to start with this aqua painter pretty wet. We'll wet down our flower, pick up a lot of the refill and just color in the entire flower. I love this effect. You can make these silk flowers any color to match any project you're working on. So you can set the flower aside to dry, or you can use a heat tool to dry it. It usually dries a couple shades lighter than it starts out, and if you want you can put a second coat on it. I kind of like it like this, and it has some really pretty dark and light shading to it. For the next step I'll be using the Stampin' Up! Perfect Setting die. So I'm using this piece of sheet metal that my husband found in the garage, and I don't know exactly what the thickness of it is. To help with the proved materials for the Big Shot, you can find this list on my website. I use this, it says aluminum 0.016, and I'm guessing that this is probably about that. I did experiment with several different thicknesses, which may or may not have been approved, so that's important to keep in mind when you're using yours. And also I'll show you a couple tips to help you get a nice clean cut with it. Here I've got my Big Shot. I'm using the Perfect Setting die, and I'm just using the napkin ring holder here. You do need the extended cutting pads for the XL die that the Perfect Setting is. Make a sandwich out of them, put them on the Big Shot, and I found I needed a little bit more oomph with this, so I used a little bit of cardboard on top. Crank that through. You need to experiment with the metal that you have. You may or may not need that extra oomph. And the dies also make a difference. This one has some detail around the edges, and without the cardboard it wasn't completely cutting it out. Some of the more solid edges were fine. So once I take that out, I have this piece. I'm going to give you a little warning. Sometimes they can be a little bit sharp. You can take a really fine sanding block on the edges if you need to. Next I'll be using the Finial Press Impressions folder. I'm going to slide this right inside the folder, writing an arrow side up. And that goes on tab 1 of the cutting pad that comes with the Big Shot. Sandwich between 2 cutting pads and crank it through. Check that out. Isn't that awesome? Now you will need to do that twice to fit the entire length. So just slide that around till it matches where the design is, and then just crank it back through the other way. So cool. So now you just bend this. Now that we have a little bit of our shape, I'm going to take the crocodile, and the crocodile has 2 hole punches when I squeeze. One is 1/8 of an inch and one is 3/16 of an inch. I'm going to use the larger, the 3/16 of an inch. And I'll hold that up. Hopefully you can see that. I'm just going to punch that hole right in the middle there. I'm going to be using a jumbo brad in here, and I needed it to be just a hair bigger than that. Right next to the hole I did another one, so it kind of looks like that. And then we'll put that aside for a second. For the flower, I'm using the flower layers with leaves. And I'll use the smallest of the flowers. Just put our sheet metal right over that. Sandwich between 2 cutting pads. I'm going to put that cardboard right back on top. And then I found, because this one has a lot of detail on the edges of the flower here, I had to work it out a little bit. I'll be using the Stampin' Up! Jumbo Eyelets in pewter to attach this. Goes aluminum flower, silk flower. Just press that right into both of them. And then press it right into our little double hole. So it looks like this, and then we're just going to set the back. I'm going to use Crocodile setting A1 for the jumbo eyelets, and I know this because I saved the package that it came in that has the instructions for it. I'm going to insert the plunger end of the Crocodile into the back of the eyelet and squeeze. And that will set our eyelet. And now our flower is set on there. Isn't that so cool? And look, it not only makes a beautiful napkin ring holder, it's a bracelet. The last step is just attaching the back together for your napkin ring holder. Decide the diameter that you'd like. You can make it wider or you can make it smaller. And if you make it smaller, you might want to trim off some of the end. I'm going to come back to the Crocodile. This time I'm using the smaller hole, which is the 1/8, to punch a hole after I've lined that up so I get the hole through both sides there. And I'll be using Stampin' Up! Silver brads to attach. So I just pop that right in there and spread the backing on the inside, and then I'll work my way down the back. And voila. Wow your friends and the men in your life with how good you can work with sheet metal. Isn't that incredible? And here's one I did with copper, and I used some of the circle rhinestone brads to attach it, and I left this one simple. It's just awesome. And this one uses Stampin' Up's beautiful butterfly dies. I used 2 different sizes of the butterflies and then attached them on with the brads, and oh my gosh, it is so striking. I'm in love. It's absolutely gorgeous. And this last one is just a very simple sheet metal with a jumbo brad through it. This one is simple elegance. Any way you do them, these are striking. Be sure to visit my blog for tons more video tutorials and some great gift ideas. Thanks, come again.